You surely know the story of Prince Harry and Meghan Markle's fairy tale love. Films have been made about it, books have been written, and hundreds of publications have been produced. But what is hidden behind the beautiful picture is far darker, more convoluted and scandalous than it might seem at first glance. After all, it was their wedding that began one of the most unpredictable and disturbing chapters in the history of the British monarchy. Today we will tell you why many believe that love is far from the main thing here. Why Harry himself, even before the wedding, heard from his closest relatives, "She will ruin your life." And most importantly, why there are still rumors around Meghan that make you feel uneasy. The younger son of the current King of England, Charles III, Prince Harry, as is known, was looking for his love for a very long time in his youth. Before marrying Meghan Markle, Harry had several romances. At the same time, some of these relationships were considered even very serious and promising. However, Harry's youthful romances did not pass the test of time, and the prince remained single for a long time until he finally met the woman of his dreams, an American mixed-race actress. Despite the fact that some of the prince's previous girlfriends were richer, more aristocratic, and often more beautiful than Meghan, Harry ultimately married her. The prince fell in love with the American actress, and even went against his family for her sake. It is known that members of the royal family, including Harry's older brother, William, and his father, Prince Charles, were against his marriage to Meghan. Queen Elizabeth, according to the memoirs of her cousin, Elizabeth Elson, even said this about the actress: "She can't turn out to be anything but a problem for us. She looks at things differently." However, the prince-in-love insisted on his own, and his relatives had to accept his choice. Later, under the influence of Meghan, Harry quarreled with the royal family and even renounced his royal duties. For the love of Meghan, the prince committed an act that many Englishmen considered a betrayal, the likes of which had rarely been seen in the long centuries of monarchical rule in England. Harry's love for Meghan, therefore, turned out to be so strong that it can be said to have even clouded his mind. But what about Meghan herself? Did the actress love Harry when she married him? And does she love him now? Of course, Meghan Markle makes it clear to everyone that she certainly loves her husband very much. As the Duchess confessed, she realized that she was in love with the prince on their third date. It happened in 2016 in Africa, where Harry invited Meghan on a safari. Here's what the actress said about this date. "It was our third meeting. I already knew that I loved him." You generally get to know a person quickly when you share a small tent with him. However, was Meghan sincere when she said these words? Many opponents of the Duchess, as well as members of the royal family, believe not. In particular, the elder English prince, William, does not believe that the Duchess of Sussex married his brother for love. It is known that the future King of England immediately suspected Meghan of having roped in his brother, because she always wanted fame and wealth. When Harry told William that he was going to marry the American actress, he immediately expressed dissatisfaction with his brother's decision. William advised Harry not to rush into marriage and to think carefully. The younger prince, who was in love with Meghan, was unpleasantly struck by his brother's words, according to his own words. Harry was offended, not understanding that William was, in fact, trying to take care of him. It seemed to the younger prince that his brother was only concerned about the reputation of the royal family, and he was trying to prevent an actress, and even a divorced one, from becoming a member of the royal family, bypassing traditions. But in reality, William, of course, simply suggested that his brother check his feelings and make sure that Meghan loved him. After all, William himself once did just that. In his youth, he was certainly aware that many girls were looking for meetings with him and trying to start a relationship with him, not because of him personally, but because of his title and wealth. And it was precisely because of this that William apparently did not propose to Kate Middleton for many years. The prince was simply testing his feelings and Catherine's feelings. He decided to marry his classmate only after he realized that Kate would have married him in any case and would have given her consent even if he had not been the future King of England. Most likely, when the Duke of Cambridge subsequently met the actress, his suspicions were strengthened. Being a reasonable and intelligent person, William understood that Meghan was much more decisive and calculating than his brother. The prince was apparently worried that Harry would fall under the influence of the actress and end up under her thumb. In the end, as is known, that is exactly what happened. Many Englishmen also suspected that Meghan did not love Harry at all, but was only interested in world fame and money. Moreover, some fans of the royal family even claimed that if Meghan had her way, she would have married William, not Harry. For some time, there was a version circulating on social networks that the actress initially fell in love with William. Because of this, she allegedly disliked the Duchess Kate even before her marriage to Harry. At the same time, by marrying Harry, Meghan allegedly hoped to charm William. Meghan's detractors claim that she was initially obsessed with the royal family, and in particular with Princess Diana. Therefore, the actress had dreamed for many years of marrying one of the sons of the charming princess. At the same time, she initially dreamed of marrying William. However, since Kate occupied the elder prince, Meghan had to be content with Harry. Markle supposedly hated Catherine, who thwarted her plans. For example, there is a version that it was Meghan who initiated the scandal related to William's affair with a neighbor in the estate, the Marchioness Rose Cholmondeley. She allegedly did this through her journalist acquaintance. The journalist, at Meghan's instigation, spread information in the press about the future king's infidelity to his wife. This scandal, as is known, almost destroyed the marriage of William and Kate. The English were wondering whether the Cambridges would divorce or not. In his youth, William often cheated on Catherine, and in the end, Kate gave him a condition. She would meet and stay with him only if he stopped treating her like a rag and would no longer spoil her image. William gave his word and subsequently kept it. He never cheated on his wife. Therefore, when the scandal with Rose broke out, everyone was waiting to see whether Catherine would keep her word and break up with William or not. Kate, as is known, did not divorce William. Moreover, the journalist's lie quickly came to light. However, the unpleasant story apparently still wounded the Princess of Wales and reopened her old wounds. Catherine, as is known, broke off all relations with Rose, with whom she had previously been a close friend, and demanded that William also never meet with the Cholmondeley couple again. Of course, rumors about Meghan's involvement in the scandal with Rose are most likely nothing more than rumors, and it is unlikely that the Duchess of Sussex actually tried to quarrel Kate with William, aiming at the future king. Moreover, she would certainly not have succeeded in taming William, even if his marriage to Kate had broken up. Firstly, the sensible William would never have started dating Meghan, and even if we assume that William succumbed to the charms of the actress as Harry did, the English public would not have allowed such a strange marriage of the future king. Meghan, of course, understood that a romance with William was nothing more than something from the realm of fantasy for her, and therefore it is unlikely that she tried to destroy the marriage of the Cambridges. But at the same time, willingly or unwillingly, the Duchess of Sussex in those days, when she still lived in England, still quite strongly strained Kate in relation to her husband and made her nervous. The fact is that because of Meghan's behavior, which was unusual for the English, many people in the palace believed that she was flirting with William. Despite the fact that Kate and William were initially against the marriage of Harry and Meghan, it is known that they welcomed the new sister-in-law quite warmly at first. Before the Sussexes' wedding, Meghan and Kate, since they were both on edge, quarreled over the bridesmaids' dresses. But after the wedding, for several weeks, both couples demonstrated quite friendly relations with each other. The Cambridges and the Sussexes appeared everywhere together, and they were even nicknamed the Inseparable Four, as Kate, William, and the unmarried Harry had previously been called the Inseparable Three. However, already at that time, according to palace employees and people close to the royal family, some of Meghan's habits began to greatly disturb and irritate Kate and William. Meghan, as is known, was born in the USA, where people are used to expressing their feelings and emotions much more openly than in England, and it was very difficult for the Duchess of Sussex, especially at first, to change this habit of hers. In particular, after becoming a duchess, Meghan did not stop greeting those around her, including members of the royal family, with hugs and kisses on the cheek. Such greetings, as is known, are quite common for Americans. For William and Kate, this habit of the new sister-in-law seemed strange and unnecessary. Moreover, close tactile contacts are prohibited by protocol for members of the royal family. Meghan, according to the memoirs of palace employees, hugged and kissed William on the cheek every time the Sussexes and the Wales met each other. According to eyewitnesses, William felt awkward at the same time. Servants, especially the elderly ones, began to think that Meghan had designs on William. All this, of course, seemed unpleasant to Kate and angered her. According to royal expert Tom Quinn, the Duchess of Sussex's hugs and kisses on the cheek gave rise to rumors among the staff that Meghan was flirting with William. Obviously, this was not the case, but the tense atmosphere caused by all this affection and the subsequent gossip exacerbated the discord between the brothers. Meghan herself did not even immediately understand her mistake. She apparently realized how unusual her actions looked in England only when she and Harry had already left for America. Before that, the tension of Kate and William when she hugged the prince seemed offensive to the Duchess. Meghan believed that the Cambridges were behaving arrogantly towards her. The Duchess also publicly expressed the opinion that William and Charles are too serious. Already in America, having cooled down and understanding what was the matter, Meghan said in the documentary Harry and Meghan, "When I met Will and Kate, I remember I was in ripped jeans and barefoot. I've always been a hugger, but I didn't realize it was so annoying to many British people. I thought you close the door and think, well, now we can relax. But this formality is transferred to both sides, and that surprised me. Also, rumors that Meghan was flirting with William could have started, perhaps, because of some photos in which the Duchess looks at the future monarch too fondly. Most likely, Meghan, feeling insecure in the royal family, simply expressed respect to William in this way. But it could have seemed to the prim English that the Duchess was making eyes at the elder prince. Be that as it may, Meghan certainly had no designs on William, but the fact that she married Harry out of calculation and not out of love may well be true. Meghan, as is known, has always claimed that she met Harry blindly through the internet, but people close to the actress assured that, for example, when going on her first date with the prince, Meghan specifically perfumed herself with Princess Diana's favorite perfume. Harry, as is known, is very reverent about the memory of his mother and never forgets about her. After all, he was once Princess Diana's favorite, and therefore he is very attracted to everything that reminds him of her. He even took Diana's perfume with him to talks with a psychologist who was trying to help him cope with grief immediately after her death. When Meghan first invited Harry to her place, she also apparently by chance cooked his favorite dish for him, fried chicken. Later, the Duchess admitted that the chicken was burnt. However, Harry was in seventh heaven from the fact that his new girlfriend so successfully guessed his food preferences. All these accidents suggest that William may have been right, and Meghan was initially targeting Harry. The actress may have had a plan in relation to the English prince, which she subsequently brilliantly implemented. When a marriage breaks down, you feel like calling your best friend to cry. But Jessica Mulroney, a stylist and TV presenter, no longer has such a friend. Her divorce from Ben Mulroney, the son of the former Prime Minister of Canada, is being discussed by everyone, and she blames everything on her friendship with Meghan Markle. Insiders say Meghan and Prince Harry's wedding in 2018 became a dark spot for her. It was then that the problems began that finished off her career and marriage. Now Jessica regrets that she ever got involved with Meghan. In May 2018, Jessica Mulroney shone at Meghan and Harry's wedding in Windsor. Her twin sons, Brian and John, carried the train of Meghan's dress, and her daughter Ivy was a bridesmaid next to Princess Charlotte. Jessica, who was considered the unofficial bridesmaid, basked in the spotlight. Their friendship with Meghan, which began in 2014 on the set of Suits in Toronto, seemed unbreakable. They hung out together, went on vacation, and Jessica helped Meghan with her wardrobe and even took her on a private jet to Harry. And when Meghan still squeezed the prince to marriage, it seemed bright prospects not only for the future Duchess, but also for her closest friend. Sisters, as Meghan called her. But today the media are sure, they of course were informed about everything by insiders, Jessica now regrets that day. The wedding gave her popularity, but she also ruined everything, they say. The fame that came with the role at the royal wedding made her vulnerable when a scandal broke out with blogger Sasha Exeter in 2020. Jessica believes if it weren't for her friendship with Meghan, her life would not have gone downhill, and makes some very strange conclusions. It was the friendship with Meghan Markle that ultimately deprived her husband and her children of their father. In June 2020, on the wave of Black Lives Matter, Sasha Exeter, a black blogger from Toronto, accused Jessica of classic white privileged behavior. Sasha posted a video where she told how Jessica threatened her in private messages after a dispute about a post in support of the movement. Jessica allegedly wrote that she would go. She spoke with brands that Sasha works with and hinted at a defamation lawsuit. Sasha called it an attempt to silence a black woman. Jessica quickly apologized on Instagram, mentioning that she lived a public and private experience with a close friend where race was at the center. The allusion to Meghan angered the Duchess. Meghan hasn't forgiven Jessica for using their friendship as an excuse. It was the last straw, insiders shared again. Meghan cut off contact, and Jessica was left without a friend who, she said, was like family. Jessica's career collapsed. She was fired from Good Morning America, CTV cancelled her show I Do Redo, and the Shoebox Project said goodbye to her. I feel ashamed. People believed the worst about me, and so few friends supported me, Jessica said. That was the perfect time for Meghan to appear in support. Just to like a post, publish a photo, write simply, Jessica is the kindest and most tolerant person in the world. But the Duchess, as usual, hid, and pretended not to particularly remember who this Jessica Mulroney was. Friends and like sisters? No, you must be confusing something. Jessica's real family supported her. Ben Mulroney, a TV presenter and son of the former Prime Minister of Canada, stood by his wife in 2020. He left the show E-Talk, stating that he wanted to make way for new voices. But, according to insiders, the scandal undermined their marriage. That incident later caused tension even at home. Ben blamed Jessica for her friendship with Meghan, for not seeing her friend for who she was, for the fact that she didn't stand up for them. It's interesting, of course. Jessica herself got involved in the dispute, but Meghan is to blame. Jessica and Ben, married since 2008, raised 3 children and were known as the perfect couple of Toronto. Their Instagram was full of photos from parties, family dinners, and a huge house with a pool. But by 2025, everything had changed. Jessica stopped wearing her wedding ring, and in March she posted that she and Ben forgot about their wedding anniversary. In June, she appeared at a friend's wedding in Toronto without her husband, next to Drake and LeBron James, and, according to friends, looked sad but happy. They broke up. Jessica shared this with friends. Their story with Ben is over, insiders said. People on the internet drew their own conclusions. Ben left, and Meghan isn't calling. It's going to be hard for Jessica. According to insiders, Jessica sees the root of her troubles in the 2018 wedding. At that time, she was at her peak, a friend of the Duchess, a stylist whom Harper's Bazaar called the fairy of Canadian fashion. Friendship with Meghan opened doors to the elite world, from Sophie Trudeau to Marcus Anderson from Soho House. But the fame that came with the royal wedding made her a target. If it weren't for Meghan, the 2020 scandal wouldn't have been so blown out of proportion. Jessica now hates that period and calls it the beginning of a dark streak, says an insider. In 2021, she hinted at loneliness on Instagram. The world and friends turn away without even asking how you are. Her posts became darker, and in June 2025 she posted a black and white photo where she looked thinner than usual. Fans on social media are wondering, is this her way of saying she's starting over? And is it a plea for Meghan to call or write? Again, everything revolves around Markle. Meghan and Jessica have not communicated since 2020. Meghan did not mention her friend in the series Harry and Meghan on Netflix, and her new show with Love Meghan starred Mindy Kaling, a former client of Jessica's. Many consider this a cruel blow. Jessica doesn't follow Meghan's Instagram and doesn't comment on her projects. In 2020, she tried to defend the friendship, writing, "Meghan is the kindest friend," but now she's silent. Jessica is trying to get back in the game. She is working with brands again, posting selfies with her children, and sharing workout videos. In 2021, she talked about therapy and sobriety, which helped her overcome depression, but the marriage could not be saved. Ben, who in 2020 called her my everything, is now also silent. Social media is writing, Jessica lost both Meghan and Ben, but looks like she's ready to move on. And again, the internet is trying to find Meghan's shadow in Jessica's troubles. Well, they were friends. Mulroney was beneficial. She helped. Then she was, so to speak, dropped. Does she need such a friendship again? I don't think so. She will be able to rise again and build a career. Maybe not like it used to be. But she will be able to earn money. She is loved in Canada. She doesn't hide her children, honestly talks about problems, doesn't intrigue. And the further she stays away from the ducal couple, the better, it seems to me. Well, all the regrets and phrases about the cursed wedding, I think, are a way to stir up subscribers and draw attention to herself. In the end, others can also use Meghan Markle for their own selfish purposes, not just her.